Welcome to another episode of Conversations and Connections, the official podcast of the Family Crisis Center of East Texas. I'm Stuart Burson, the prevention coordinator for the agency. With me, a familiar guest on the podcast, and I think still the current record holder of appearances on the podcast, although she's not with us anymore. I have Maria Villarreal, who used to be at the Family Crisis Center. Now she has moved on. She is with Unbound Now, and her title is, let me take a deep breath, the Commercially Sexually Exploited Youth Advocacy Coordinator. Did I get it?
Yes.
All right. Before we begin, I asked Maria, okay, Maria, what's exactly your title? CSA. What is that? So, do you fit all of that on one business card? Or?
We abbreviate it, yes, thankfully.
Okay. Well, I wanted Maria to come on, and I wanted her to kind of get your feet wet with Unbound Now. You're kind of carrying on the same work you did with the Family Crisis Center, but with Unbound Now. First of all, tell us just a little bit about Unbound Now. You work with victims of human trafficking. Mm-hmm. What exactly is Unbound Now? What is your mission? And let's kind of go from there.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me once again. So Unbound Now actually got started 12 years ago in Waco with our founder and chief advisor, Susan Peters. She was doing some international work, got educated about human trafficking, came back home, saw the same signs in her hometown, and she was just like, okay, I'm not going to stand the sidelines. I want to do something about it. Started in Waco, like I said, and now we are in 13 locations. We're located all over the state of Texas, Louisiana, and we have 3 international locations. So what we do, what Unbound Now does, is that we help victims of human trafficking and high-risk youth up through the age of 24. Well, I should say that about Unbound Now East Texas. But what we do here in Unbound Now East Texas is we help victims of human trafficking, high-risk youth, and we actually just got started with our prevention work in Smith County. Before I get into that, I should probably state that we cover a lot of territory in East Texas now. We cover 14 counties. So we just got started with our prevention work in Smith County, like I said, and thankfully that'll be launched soon. So yeah, we also do trainings, we do outreach. So if FCC or another organization has a tabling event coming up, we can definitely have a table out there with our information, or if y'all need like different people to come out and provide like candy, snacks, things like that, that's something that we can do. So yeah, we just want to be here to serve the community and serve survivors.
So you specifically mentioned Unbound Now in East Texas, so in the counties you serve. Where is Unbound Now? How far do they reach outside of East Texas? Where else is Unbound Now located?
So we have locations in North Texas. So the main office in that location is Fort Worth, but they also cover the surrounding counties. We also have an office in Austin, Waco, Bryan College Station, Houston, and just very recently opened up in East Texas about a year ago. And we just opened up an office in Lufkin earlier this year, and then we moved to another office shortly after that. So we're experiencing a lot of growth, thankfully.
Yeah, okay. So you're staying in Texas. You're not outside of Texas.
We're also in Louisiana, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and all the surrounding counties there. And then we're also in Mongolia and Poland. So yeah, we have 2 offices in. I can't really remember exactly how many offices, but we have 3. I can't remember how many in Mongolia and how many in Poland. But one or the other.
Okay. So, Maria, you and I have had this conversation several times, but human trafficking, what is it? And I let me preface this by saying a lot of times when we talk about human trafficking, a lot of people, I think, confuse it with smuggling. I think of smuggling when that's not what we're talking about when we talk about human trafficking.
Yeah, and I can see why it gets confused with human smuggling, but it's, like you said, it's not that. So human trafficking, that is the business of stealing freedom for profit. That's the best way that I can describe it or summarize it. It is whenever somebody's being forced to provide some sort of labor service or commercial sex act through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. Now, if it's involving sex trafficking with a minor, then that those three elements of force, fraud, and coercion, those don't need to be proven. A minor is a victim of sex trafficking, no questions asked. Doesn't matter if that minor's like, yes, I wanted to do it for my boyfriend, for my family, or whatever. They're automatically victims. And then human smuggling, that is actually a crime against a border, against a nation. Whenever people are coming into a country without the proper documents, that is actually human smuggling.
Okay.
I can see why the two get confused, though.
Right. So some people may be surprised that there's a need for an organization like Unbound Now in East Texas. I know we've kind of talked about that before. When you think of human trafficking in the sense that you intend to talk about it, you think of metropolitan areas. I think of Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. And you brought up a good point about in other country. Well, I think like New Orleans, a big city, Mongolia, Poland. But a lot of times, Lufkin and Nacogdoches, Texas, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, and we've certainly faced that mindset where it's like, no, it's not happening here
Yeah.
because it must be happening only internationally or in big cities. But unfortunately, it is happening here. We've already had a couple of confirmed human trafficking cases referred to us. And I hate saying it like this, but I'm thankful that they're making the referrals. It's kind of like a double-edged sword because it's like that's what we're here to do, but unfortunately, there's some terrible things happening. But yeah, there's definitely a need here. We're just very fortunate to be here. It is a rural community, so it's not happening like it is happening in the big cities. It's happening more like isolation, more it could be the family members versus maybe the boyfriend. We're kind of seeing a combination of the two.
Yeah.
We're not really seeing the abductions, the kidnappings. Actually, we haven't seen a case like that. I should say that I've been in this field for almost 8 years, and I haven't gotten a case where the victim was kidnapped, minding his or own business, and then this creepy white van creeps up on them, kidnaps them, and they're never to be seen. Like the clients that we're serving, they're still going to schools, they're still going to the stores, they're still, out in public. They're just hidden in plain sight.
Yeah. So you said you've been doing this for 8 years. I'm curious, if you can think about this, on average, how many cases do you see, or how many new clients do you see? I don't know if I should ask you per week or per month, but what is that number like?
I can't really give a number per week or per month because they kind of come in waves. Like
Okay.
1 week, and actually one day on a Friday, we got 8 referrals from a DA's office. So we got 8 potential victims in one day. In 1 week, we can get 2 referrals. In a month, we can get maybe 10 referrals. So it really does depend. But what I can say is that so far since we've opened up in East Texas, we've gotten about 90 referrals. And of those 90, we have about 50 or 60 active cases. I can't remember the exact number. But here in Deep East Texas, I want to say that we have about 20 or maybe 30 active cases, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Which is great. I wasn't really expecting a number like that, especially since we've only been open for a year. In Lufkin, even less than that, a couple of months. So we're just very fortunate to be getting those referrals.
So, what's the process? You get a referral, and how do these referrals always come to you through like the DA's office? Do you ever get a phone call from a victim saying, hey, I'm in this situation and I need some help?
So we have not gotten a whole lot of phone calls from victims directly self-identifying. We've gotten very, very few, and if they do self-identify, we found out that there was another agency already educating them on how they're victims.
Okay.
Right now, our referrals are coming from mainly law enforcement, juvenile probation, the DA's office. We've gotten some referrals from like counselors, from a few from clinics. So we're hoping that as we continue to spread the word about Unbound Now, those referral numbers will keep increasing.
So what is the referral like? You get a referral, you make initial contact with this person. What do you do? Like, okay, you're going to help victims get out of trafficking. How is that accomplished? I mean, what's the process? How do you do that?
So it looks different for every case. We go out on recoveries, meaning that if law enforcement or CPS has identified a potential victim of human trafficking, whether it be at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., we will go out. And that can involve going to the police station, the hospital, maybe the CPS office if they're open at that time. We will go out wherever the victim is as long as law enforcement has deemed it safe. Sometimes people will call our crisis line, our 24/7 crisis line. They'll make referrals that way too. And it can be law enforcement, it can be CPS, it can be the family members of the victim. We've gotten a few phone calls where a family member was concerned and they just made a referral. So it looks different in a lot of different ways.
How do you get the word out that you guys are even here in East Texas? I'm sure, and I kind of know a little bit about that just from working with you when you were here at the Family Crisis Center. It's visiting the DA's office, visiting the sheriff and the PD and things like that. But I'm assuming that you guys are present at various events and with information tables and so forth. How do you go about just letting everybody know that you guys are out here?
Well, I think that with Deep East Texas specifically, we're very fortunate to also have two advocates that have been very heavily involved with the community in their previous employment. So I think it's a lot of that people are already familiar with us. And it's just kind of like that transfer, like, okay, I no longer work for this agency. I work for Unbound Now, and this is what we do, this is how we can help and everything. But it has entailed of sending emails out and being like, hey, Unbound Now, this is what we do, this is who we are. We would love to meet with you and help understand how we can support you with these cases. It can also involve some tabling events as well. So any way that we can to help spread the word out about Unbound Now will be great. The advocates, they've also gone out to different clinics, different hospitals, and just handed out brochures and candy and just kind of explained the process of how to make referrals to us. And we always let people know that if they're not sure if they know about human trafficking or if they know enough of it, we can always educate them on that. All of our trainings, it is certified by the state of Texas, so they can get their credits if they need it for free from us.
Yeah.
So we always mention that to them as well.
How are you guys funded? Is it through is it grants, donations, both?
Every office is funded differently. Every office has different grants, but right now in East Texas, we're funded specifically from by the governor's office child sex trafficking team through VOCA, 100%. But we're also accepting donations. And we've been very blessed to have a good support system already where people are donating to us or helping us get certain items for clients, certain gift cards, things like that. So in East Texas, it's VOCA and donations.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. If someone's trying to escape trafficking or if someone wants to make a referral to you guys, if they know somebody, how do they get a hold of you?
We highly, highly recommend calling our 24/7 hotline number, which is 936-233-8397. We do have advocates that are on call on rotation, including myself as well. I have not been able to escape the on-call life.
You were deep in it here, and you're still in it now.
And I don't mind at all. I really don't. I love what I do. I'm very passionate. I think you have to be passionate in order for you to stay in this field for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody wants to give a call to that number, they'll be talking with an advocate or maybe myself, and it can be a victim or police, anybody, and they can just tell us what they're going through, what they've encountered, and then we can let them know, like, yes, they qualify for services, or go ahead and make the referral and everything. If it is a victim and they need help right away, we highly, highly recommend calling 911 first, just to make sure that their safety is assessed properly and that law enforcement responds, and then law enforcement can call us to respond if it's deemed safe.
Okay. One of the things I want to ask you is when you first got into this work, you were here at the Family Crisis Center whenever I came on board. and then you weren't working with what?
Great times.
Great times. Yes. Yes. I always referred to Maria as my work sister or whatever. We used to always give each other hard times, and I can't pass by a dad joke without thinking that this one just reeks of Maria Villarreal all over it.
I have a dad joke for you too.
Okay, great. When I first started working here, you weren't in the human trafficking, or you weren't dedicated. I guess your position here wasn't dedicated to human trafficking. What really got you fired up about wanting to help that particular population?
It started when I was 15 years old. I saw a documentary, and that documentary was about how there were children, and I can't remember if it was in India or China, but there were children being kidnapped and sold. And so that is what lit a fire in me. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. How dare people do this? And then, so I started doing my research, found out that it's happening in the United States. And I was like, oh, like the fight is here in the U.S. And then as I got older, I found out that it's happening in Texas. Then it's happening in big cities. And then I got the job here at the Family Crisis Center. I'll never forget my first client, which, I won't talk about, but I'll never forget how I got that first client. I was like, it's happening here.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully a lot of training was happening, and really got educated on how it's looking like in the rural communities. And so now with Unbound Now, just fully 100% dedicated to it.
Was it difficult at first convincing officials, the DA's office, the sheriff's offices, of folks there that this is something that they need to pay attention to?
Yes. And I'll never forget that struggle in the very beginning of like trying to help people understand that it's not just happening in our area, but how it's happening, and how it's not kidnappings and abductions. It was such a struggle in the beginning. Like I'll be very vulnerable. Like there were moments where I kind of wanted to give up, because I was just like, I don't know if it'll ever come across that this is really happening in our area. But thankfully, I had people that kept reminding me, what my calling was and everything. And so now it's definitely gotten a lot better to where, like I said, we're getting referrals from a lot of different people, and we're very thankful for that. I'm very thankful that the mindset has shifted from like, it's not happening in our area, to like, oh, it is happening in our area, and this is who we can call, and we can even call Maria or Unbound Now to staff a potential case. So it's taking a lot of time, but I'm just thankful for the support that we have, and I'm thankful for just people that are willing to listen to the issue that we have in our area and that want to partner up.
All right. We're about to wrap it up. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we call everything?
Yeah, I need to tell you that dad joke.
Oh, of course. Well, please, let me just tell the listeners, put your seatbelts on, buckle up, get ready for this one.
I always crack myself up. So, how did the hamburger introduce his girlfriend?
I don't know, Maria. How did the hamburger introduce his girlfriend?
Meet Patty. Can't help it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I got one for you too, but it takes more explaining. So we'll talk about it. It's not dirty or anything. It's just too much. It's too much to explain before I'm going to tell it on the podcast. Maria Villarreal, thank you so much. I've always enjoyed the times that you've been on the podcast, because you're just so easy to talk to, and I think we have a good rapport. And I just appreciate the work that you've done. It's good to still. It's been a while since I've seen you, but I usually, if not you, I usually see some of your folks out and about in the same events and things that we're a part of. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Maria Villarreal. She is the. Let me get this right. Hold on. Say it for me, Maria.
The East Texas CSA Advocacy Coordinator.
Okay, we'll just say it's the CSA Advocacy Coordinator, working with victims of human trafficking. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions for Maria, or if you need some more information, you can always call us at our toll-free number if you feel like you need the services of the Family Crisis Center. That's 1-800-828-7233. Be sure to subscribe to Conversations and Connections. You can do that via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, pretty much any podcast service of your choice. Be the voice, if not for you, for someone else.